Wish you would update it so you can put a filter on there so I look better. Camera. Yeah.
Are we there?
We are there.
You go favorite into the.
Tuesday, October 14th, work session for the Gerhart City Council is called to order at this time. I'm turning it over to Paulina.
Okay, there should be two pertinent pieces of paper in front of you. One is public safety building survey review meeting agenda and discussion notes. It says draft 3, but it's really draft 4 that we're talking about. So we can pencil that thing in if you want. And then you got a public safety building survey draft 4. Chad and the mayor and I met this morning and made some minor corrections from what I think Chad thought we were gonna have for this meeting, so that's why we're on draft 4 already. Purpose of the meeting is to review and discuss draft 4 of the public safety building survey, gather your feedback on proposed improvements and identify revisions in draft 4 before finalizing the public release. Our objectives then are to review and confirm the content and structure of the survey, discuss any revisions from counselors, staff and community reviewers, decide on the final layout, sequencing and terminology for public release. Chad, you want to go through the first item of discussion?
Sure, so some of these were brought up by Ms. Sharon also for a meeting that her and I had. And so from the previous drafts, we talked about cost clarity, adding the cost per thousand on the example table for everything. And we did that if you go to your draft 4 under step 2, option A. We accomplished that underneath the estimated cost amounts. So for example, in option A, estimated cost 33 to 35 million. Approximate tax impact is $3 per thousand of assessed value. And then the mayor thought it would be a good idea, because there is a difference in the options, that we add in that there would be how long the bond would be for, the term of the bond.
Yeah.
So we did that on all 4. The difference is on page 2, option B. It shows the 10-year bond. But the tax impacts are all estimated based on the estimated cost value, which we still got some work to do there. I have another meeting tomorrow with the architects on some of these costs, so we should be able to get that pretty well nailed down to good estimates.
Can I stop you there just for one question? So the rest of the cost clarity that you have there, it goes on to say how much would it's sort of like, give me the real world dollar amount for my $1 million house, it's gonna be $3,000 a year. That's what this describes, and that's not exactly the same as this.
I agree. It's not impossible. I think we can do it. It's funny though, people have that reaction. They're like, my house isn't worth $350,000. It's worth $800,000. There's a disconnect between the assessed value and the real market value. So sometimes when we put like a value of 350, 400, 500, people are like, that's just you're low cutting everybody in town, because they have a misunderstanding of what the valuation is all about. So putting that out there to you folks, maybe how we could clarify that.
Well, everybody's gonna know at the end of this week, because they just sent the
I
new
was gonna
tax
say, I just
statements
pick
out.
up my new tax statement.
Well, I mean, they don't know.
No, they don't, but yeah, you're correct. I thought we were gonna refer to examples that we could put up on the blog, so that we don't have to put it all in here, because you make this lengthy and people aren't gonna read it, but you could say, refer to city blog for.
Yeah, the size and the speed
website.
of what we're doing here, we're trying to be conscious of that, but also trying to get all the information. We can.
Like an FAQ is what you're saying.
Right,
Yeah, we could do that in the blog separate than this, or we could try to figure out a way to put a short statement on here. As well. Just.
I think on the blog would be better, because if you start cluttering this with extraneous information, you're gonna lose people.
and you can,
But not everybody reads the blog.
No, not everybody does, you're right.
And then the only other opportunity we have. To do something like that is this explanatory sheet. That I added on, and it is the beginning of what we're actually going to send out to people. And maybe there's an opportunity
where's that?
there. It's on the second sheet. So to show you what we have here, going backwards a little bit, we have draft 4. And then I gave 2 sheets. One of them is who are we mailing the survey to? So statement about that. And then the second sheet was a draft of what we would send out, whether this be on a postcard, third of a page, half page, we'll figure that out. But we could put something on that, keep in mind.
Keep in mind, per household, we're talking about not real, assessed value.
Yeah, it's fun, easy.
And click here for more information.
Yeah, I think that I ran some numbers on this, and I think that we found that the assessed value is about 47% of real market value in Europe on average.
On average.
I just feel like there are gonna be people who are not gonna reach on the blog. Those are the people that will be sending stuff, through the mail or whoever else we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really helpful for people to have that explanation.
But there's some agreement to not have it on the survey document itself.
I might be able to just do something very simple and, keep another record, keep in mind, this is on assessed value, not real market value in your home.
Okay.
And then I could it wouldn't even add a line. I'm not sure what it would do, but it would be informational. That would say, for example, a $350,000 house, $550,000 house. No, I'm not sure what area to hit there. Maybe both.
Well, if you're just gonna do where it says cost clarity under items for discussion under if you're just gonna do that little bit there, I don't have a problem with it, attaching it at the very back of your document for review. With just a little note saying, if you want to know your assessed value is not your market value. If you want to know your assessed value, go to the county's website or refer to your
Tax statement.
your tax statement. Sorry, thank you. Talking's hard.
I just got mine today.
I got mine too. Mine went down.
Okay, I'll see if I can fit that underneath the estimated cost briefly, and then a sentence in the to get people to go to the survey. I'll try both.
We're asking people for their help and I feel like we can make it as simple as possible for them. That would be a good thing to do.
Fire that the information. Okay. So we did that. So that was the conversation. We'll make those notes. Some other revisions we made from the other draft. On 2 option revisions of the agenda document. Highland site option D, and the option also includes new public works rebuild and city hall remodel. in The downtown core.
So you don't have that under option D on the survey. You don't have public works on there. You see where I'm talking about?
Remodel the current city hall in downtown Gerhart. Remodel the current city hall and public works. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
I think I put that. I put that as a new line under option B. It says construct a new public works building on the current site.
no, I'm talking about D.
Yeah, I put it under B. I think we can do what I did under B. Under D as well.
So you're thinking you wouldn't just put them in the old fire station?
Well, I guess that's up for debate. We haven't made a decision on that, because we really don't have any finalized pricing. We know we're gonna need to replace that public works building sooner than later. If
The
we
pole
abandon-
barn?
Yeah, the pole barn. But if we did abandon the fire station, it would work for the public works folks for a period of time.
You mean without remodeling it?
There'd be some things that we would need to do to it, but not to the extent we would for the fire department.
Right.
No, they would need to renew the electrical, clearly needs to be revamped.
Yeah, there need to be some electrical work, probably a new roof. So I could put, so I mean, that's something we haven't,
I mean, I would want to clarify, because this is something you're not discussing anywhere else in this document. All of a sudden, you're hitting them between the eyes. Oh, by the way, we're gonna do public works too.
Yeah.
So I would think that you would want to clarify in there that it would just, we're not talking about going crazy with it, but making the old fire station appropriate for public works operations.
Well, on D, I would probably just put remodel the current city hall and fire station for public works. Or something like that.
okay, I can word that up.
Where did we come up with the estimated cost for C? And D?
Just best guess until I get into a conversation tomorrow with the architects.
Okay,
Where
so
there's-
you are gonna have some information from the architects before we put this out, and those numbers could be subject to change.
Yeah, oh, totally, they're gonna be,
Okay. 'Cause I
except for
don't-
the
I-
first one, they're all gonna be estimated.
I don't wanna quote numbers like that are. That's a hard thing to say.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when I talked to the architect at the League of Oregon Cities meeting that his estimation on that particular site was about 21. In my conversation, I haven't seen anything in writing, but
Based on my experience, I would say, yeah, I would expect between 20 and 25, but again, there are so many things that could make that number go wonky. Whatever we say to them that turns out not to be true, end up undermining our credibility. So we need
Yeah.
to stick to what we can say factually.
Once we have it, yeah, I'll use estimated on everything, as we have, but I'll make sure that that's clear. And then, once we have a direction from the people, we'll spend some extra energy on that direction and clarify those costs, of course, before going for a bond.
Well, yeah, you would have to, you can't just go out for a bond based on, we think it's gonna be this.
Yep.
No, you have to come down with some hard numbers before I could vote to put it on the ballot.
Okay, I'll look at that. I'll look at the approximate tax estimates with the existing marketplace. trying to keep, make sure that people understand this per household assessed value. Option C, D, and E, making sure that they know that these are estimated.
Well, that's.
Well, you've got it on A
He's got
also,
it
so
here,
it's,
Public Works Region.
Really is all of
right.
Right,
Here's the postings and seeing it's got.
No, I don't, he said CGB.
them. I did, meant B, D, and E.
but
C, and
we
D.
put a lot of work into
So
A, figuring out what
A,
that
B,
number
C,
is,
and
we've
D.
got a pretty good idea.
I have no idea where I came up with that.
So Chad, option A, current downtown project. What do you mean, what does it mean by highest resiliency?
That's a tough one.
What is it, what do those two words mean?
You know-
Most resilient?
I'm not sure. If it was a new building built to critical infrastructure standards, the building itself would be of highest resiliency, but it's still in the tsunami limitations. of it.
Okay, but on the rest of them, you say lowest cost, shortest lifespan, then you say moderate cost, higher ground, then you say higher ground and resiliency. So it makes it just a little bit confusing because you've got highest resiliency under A, and you've got higher ground and resiliency under D. So it's just a little confusing.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about it surviving everything. The highest resiliency is D, correct? Is that correct?
Right, because it's
Yes.
earthquake.
So
and
I think that needs to be made clearer, because option A is not gonna be the highest resiliency.
You could say earthquake resilient for option A. And option D, you can say earthquake and tsunami resilient.
The difference is that
Besides the
this
tsunami.
location here is closer to the water table.
No.
That's the resiliency factor.
Well, it's part of it.
So how did you put that again?
Well, I said option A is earthquake resilient. And option D is earthquake and tsunami resilient. I mean, you may be able to put some resilience in it by having front and back doors and maybe the water would flow through, but that's about as resilient as you're gonna get for a tsunami. If the water comes up the street, it's coming up the street.
Okay, I like that for A, highest cost, earthquake resilient. Let's go through them. Option B, lowest cost, shortest lifespan. And putting a caveat on shortest lifespan. This is something when I work with, the comment from Bob Moore. Where, you know, we put the 10-year lifespan on there. It's just one of the drafts and he said that he wouldn't be happy with that. It seems like, you know, how do we know?
I can tell you how we know, look at how long ago was it that Seaside built their fire station and they've already had to remodel it. Warrenton already wants to do some updates, some remodels to theirs. I can tell you from 30 years of experience of working in fire and police buildings that you build them and then industry standards change. Things change. If you're building a building, if you're trying to make a building that is already too small for us work, it's getting 10 years out of it is, you know, you're lucky. So I can tell you based on my experience, and if he disagrees, I'd like to know what, you know, what he's basing his belief on.
So I try to kind of meet in the middle with shortest lifespan, not making any guarantees. I mean, to 10 years or 20 years or anything like that. I just do shortest lifespan. So if there's no comments on that one, we can go to the next. Leslie or Dune Meadows, Leslie, spelled correctly, Lesley. Miller Park. Which again, there's a lot of things going about how Leslie Miller donated the park. You know, there wasn't a donation there. That was from the county is what that is, that she was the lifeblood that made it happen. Lowest cost, shortest lifespan, so Leslie Miller Park, moderate cost, higher ground.
I mean, that would have to be built to, critical infrastructure standards, so it's going to have earthquake and tsunami resilience, unless it's an XL or an XXL.
Once again, I go back to the fact that the water table
Large.
up there is a lot deeper than it is here. And
Yeah,
the same is true with the one out there.
so that brings it to moderate cost, because we're probably saving about $5 to $6 million on the foundation if we were to put it at the park.
Okay, this park one, the public works isn't gonna go to the park. So we should indicate public works would stay where it is and we would still need modification for them. Right?
If we, again, we're back to the same thing that we would have done with
You've still got,
E, reuse old fire station, remodel for public works.
right,
Upgrade public works.
Well, I would use the same terminology.
Okay.
okay.
So that would read lowest cost. Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
So Dune Meadows, less than Miller Park, moderate cost. Around earthquake and tsunami resilience.
But that estimated cost,
I would take out the words higher ground.
Under Dune Meadows Park, to 58 feet versus 27 here.
I think, but that
Takes us
estimated,
out of the medium.
but the estimated cost, you're not including it in the refurbishment of, for public works in City Hall.
We are with the architects, so we'll make sure that that price is.
Okay, it just needs to be apples to apples, so if you're gonna put public works and refurbishment, sorry, of City Hall in one option, you gotta put it in,
Yeah, we've already added it.
I agree. I agree.
but the estimated cost doesn't reflect that. Does it?
Well,
Well, we're not, it will, this is what the architects are working on.
Okay. And then if you're gonna leave higher ground under C, let's put highest ground under D. Or D.
So Highlands Site, Highlands Lane and Highway 101. Highest ground. Earthquake and tsunami resilience. Okay. And then add reuse over fire station remodel for public works as we would in the other places as well. Stayed the same.
any other changes to the 4 options?
Yeah. No, not to the 4 options.
Except for young D, you're going to move that strongly opposed and
Right.
have its little checkbox by it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
checkbox moved down. I made that change on the computer already after you brought it to me again. The formatting of this will change.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, survey structure and sequences, we flipped all three of them a little bit.
Well, by that, earlier versions, we had the ranking, which is what we're gonna look at next. We had that up front as first. And I thought because these four options have all the detail of what's in each option, that should go first so that somebody doing the survey can take a look at those and say how they support them. And then we're really almost asking the same question in a different way. We're asking them to rank them specifically. And so on those, the four sites, just what's entailed in it is just squashed a little bit.
Yeah, logically, that order makes most sense to me. Give them the information, and then at the end of it, now that you have that information, rank your preference.
And then we took the voter status and put that all the way up the front rather than all the way at the bottom.
That was where I had a question. I thought that we had discussed not only are you a voter, but are you a homeowner? And those were gonna be two different questions. Did we remove that?
I
or did we
didn't,
change
I
our
didn't
mind?
even add it into any of the drafts yet, so I think we could discuss it now.
I mean, I did have it on draft at some point, I don't have it in front of me, but I know we did talk about it. But
If we're gonna do a survey of all the property owners in Gerhart, because they're the ones that are paying for it, you have to include the non-residents.
I agree.
I understand, and we are going to send it to the non-residents in their water bill and invite them to participate. Is it important that we know whether or not they own a home here? Because we're already asking, are you a registered voter here? And just by someone saying they're not a registered voter, they're either way outside the norm in terms of I don't vote, or they vote somewhere else because they have a second home here. So they have every opportunity, but do we have to ask them, do you own a home here?
I don't think that should be necessary since you're looking for participation of the residents. And the voters especially.
Well, you are, but don't ever forget that you need broad community support for any project like this. And as somebody who, when I first moved here, was a second homeowner, there are many times when I felt left out and felt like I was, I didn't, my opinion didn't count because I didn't vote here. And it doesn't hurt us at all to put a second question on there and ask them, are you a homeowner? And then if nothing else, it appears to be more inclusive and that we care about their opinions also. And then we do with it whatever we want with that information. So I would, under step one, I would say just, voter / homeowner status. Are you a voter? Are you a home? And then down below, are you a homeowner? Just one more line.
I'm not sure it will give us useful information, but
It won't, but she's,
It won't hurt
her
us,
point,
though.
the point that I'm hearing you make is that it will be an inclusive kind of a gesture.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna give us any important information, but I agree with you about the inclusivity of it.
Yeah, nothing pisses people off more than thinking I've got to pay for this, but nobody's gonna ask me my opinion about it.
even though they're looking at a survey in their hand.
Yeah.
And that's not asking their opinion.
What about, so right now with your idea, I just wrote down, okay, so we have currently, are you currently a registered voter in the city of Gerhart? Yes, no. The next question for the idea here is, are you a homeowner, home or property owner? Would be yes, no. Some people would answer yes to both. Some people answer no and yes.
Of course.
So like you said, I don't know that the data would be helpful. But what if we put an just a little sentence? We want everyone to vote. whether or not you're a homeowner.
I'm gonna be insistent upon the fact that the people that own property up on the front,
Well, we're all about that, and it's gonna go to them, and it is important, but do you wanna separate what they think versus what the voters think out, and then give them more or less credence? I mean, I guess that would be why we would be asking for the data.
I can tell you one thing, okay, the people up there that have $6 or $7 million houses, how many houses in downtown Gerhart you have to add together before you get $6 or $7 million bucks?
Well, again, assess that.
That's the thing that I'm concerned about.
Mhm. So how do you word it?
I,
That's just semantics.
I just don't think it
That's
hurts
what
us
we're
in any
doing.
way to get additional information, just throw it in there. It doesn't hurt us to not have it in there, or to have it in there, but it could hurt us to not have it in there, is my.
Correct.
So if you are not registered to vote, are you a homeowner?
Are you a
Or
property?
your property.
No, I
or-
don't think you need to put if you're not registered to vote, are you
Yeah,
property? Just are you a property owner?
Yeah,
Cause otherwise, it's like you're mining for information.
and then if you want to extract out the opinions of the voters at the end of this and just know what the voters had to say, they've marked it on there, and you just, weed out the ones that don't say that they're a
The ones
registered
that would be
voter. If
most
you want to
interested.
know how a vote is going to go, you could do it that way, as long as you ask the two questions. But I agree with Preston. I think that, you don't need to
So the way it would look
yeah.
in Preston would be like,
disenfranchise people when there's no need to, or give it the appearance that we're disenfranchising people when it doesn't hurt us to ask.
so we put, are you currently a registered voter in Gerhart? No. Are you a property owner? Yes. That would give them the understanding.
Property
I
owner
think, that-
in Gerhart.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how many long-term rentals we have here in this town. I know that the Chisholm Apartments there, are the most reasonable. But I don't know how many people own property here that they rent out long-term.
Yeah, I don't have any idea.
So,
man.
I mean, it used to be that,
there's a few.
the working stiff could rent a place down here.
But they're voters. Yeah.
But and the renters are voters, but they're not property owners.
Right.
But it's gonna be reflected, because I mean, if it passes, well, then their rents are gonna go up, so they're basically paying for it.
Okay, I'll add that in for the next draft. Take a look and see how it works.
And we gotta also remember what we're asking people, their opinion on is, what do you want the future of your emergency services to look like? What equipment do you want to give them? What type of a facility do you want to give them? Because in turn, that is going to reflect on the service that you receive in the future. So whether or not, you're a voter or just a homeowner or whatever, all of those people will have an opinion, and I think that we should ask the question.
And as the population in Gerhart gets older, and with the building codes the way that they are, there are fewer fires and a heck of a lot more medical services required.
Okay,
Agree.
we're ready to move on.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of under 3, survey structure and sequencing, new voter status question. We did that, we talked about it. We add another line about whether or not they are a property owner in Gerhart. The one thing I didn't add to this, but Sharon, I believe, had the idea, and might be a good one. Under step 3, so I'm on the final page there. If you wanted to get some more information out of folks, additional feedback, what factors matter most to you when choosing an option? Is it cost, safety and elevation, longevity, future adaptability, preserving fire stations, traditional downtown locations, or other?
I like it.
I did not put that on this draft yet. So we would be adding a step 3.
It
or
seems
step
like
up, fourth
it's
step.
redundant to me, but
I've heard both ways, that it's good information and it might be redundant, but
I don't think it is because things change all the time. For example, one might look at the last vote for a bond and assume that people said that they don't want to build up at the Highlands Station, that they absolutely want to build here. However, when we gave them the option to build here and they found out the price, then all of a sudden they said, oh no, we don't want to do that either. So this helps you narrow down to, okay, when things become fluid or when there's a hiccup, there's always a hiccup, there's always something that comes up. You know, it'll help us understand, put ourselves in your shoe, voter, the decisions that we make going forward. What do you want us to consider? Number one, cost or safety or longevity? That's what that question is asking, and that's why I like it.
But cost, it doesn't mean, so cost is important to me. Really?
Yeah, but we're
Low
asking,
cost or high cost?
we're asking
What's
what
important?
matters most.
Cost matters. You're not asking me how much.
Well, all this matters, but we're asking what matters most.
And if I say cost, what does that mean to you?
That means
I
that-
want the $35 million one, or I want the $5 million one?
Right.
If I say cost is important. You don't know.
It's a good point.
You can say high cost or low cost. You might get some useful information. But even that, what's low? What's low to one person is not low to
So
another.
we can say
So do you want to say
lower,
lowest cost, lowest cost or lower cost?
lowest cost really is kind of what we're getting at, right? That's what people want. And they're probably in the majority going to click that.
I'd love to see a place where they could write any of their comments. You know, it's asking for Pandora's box. but-
It is, and it's not only that, it's going to be something for someone to type in to everything. Every response will be typed and added in, and you're gonna have a spreadsheet with all the comments that they come up with. And sure as the gosh, there's going to be someone who's going to go off on something, and you gotta put that in with your comments. And then what we're trying is this,
I
you know,
understand. Some of the complaints about the last survey that went out were that there was no place to write comments in.
Well,
I
you know,
heard that from
anybody can
citizens.
send us an email anytime they
I
want
know.
to.
Just saying,
And
that's
some
what I
people
heard.
do.
We're trying to get people to do this online, so we don't have to do as much copy and pasting. So we're really pushing people to go online on this one. We're not gonna, unless you instruct me otherwise, I don't think we're going to send every person an actual copy of the survey. Not at this point. We're gonna send them a document that shows them how to get to the survey as easily as possible. And so that if other comments are written in there, I believe, and I have to check with Christie, that those will just be automatically added into a new column. And all the columns, so we won't have to retype, is all I'm saying.
If it's done on the survey.
If it's done on the survey, and then we would have to retype, because we are going to offer people a paper survey for those that just refuse to do it online or can't do it or don't have a computer. We will have paper surveys here at City Hall. And we would type those in, but looking at what's been happening over the last few surveys is most people are doing them online. A large majority of these people are doing them online.
Well, I would just be careful with what you're, what you said as a maximum characters. You know, I don't know what that should be off the top of my head, but when I'm using my chart, I write into my doctor, there's only so much I can write.
Yeah, 150 characters,
I
200
don't wanna
words.
say what it is, but might be 200, 250.
So that would be in addition to this new step, additional feedback. To change it so others not there, or we leave other and then ask for comments just at the very end of the survey, any comments that you'd like to give us, we'd be adding to it, we go from. So yeah, it would be in addition to this form. Any other comments? So we would have step 3, additional feedback, cost, safety, elevation, longevity, preserving the fire station's traditional downtown or other. And then at the very end, we're talking about the potential for any other comments.
Why can't I just go under the other?
I'm just clarifying, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know which way would be best.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We could go,
Well, that's answering a specific question. What's most important to you? If you want to just say any additional comments, that's a different question. If all you want to know is what factors are most important, then just put it there.
So, but the question is, do we wanna take the S off of factors? Do we just want one thing that's most important to them? Or do we want them to be able to check whatever they want to check?
Well, I don't want the question at all.
I would. I thought this is where we're gonna let them rank. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You know.
that's step 2.
Step 2.
What do you wanna know? I mean, if they were to ask that question, would we wanna know their, to rank them? Or to just pick their most important? The most. What matters to them most?
So step 3 is rank your preferences, which is what we're gonna repeat. I don't know, it might be redundant, but it kind of helps to cement in their mind some of what we're trying to look at. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna look at the results to question 2, the heaviest. It's the most important question in my mind. Well, the ranking.
I think that the people that live in Gerhard and are property owners and everything like that are pretty darn sophisticated. I think they can figure it out.
Do you see value in that additional feedback question? Because it's not in the survey right now.
We could take that question out and just say additional feedback. Give them a place to write.
That'd be my preference.
Sounds good.
And what do you think?
I like this because it'll give us something that makes sense that we could compare. You know, this is the information that we're asking from you so that we can extrapolate it and later make decisions down the road. This way makes most sense to me. If you just leave it blank and allow them to write in whatever they want, you're gonna get people who are gonna say, you know, everybody on city council are idiots and I will never trust you. And that'll be their comment, and that doesn't give us the information that we're looking for. So I like this, but it's not a hill I'm gonna die on, so.
Well, I mean, it gets right down to the same problem we've had all along. You either want to participate in the discussion, or you just want to bitch about it.
Well, to me, part of the problem that we've always had is that we have always stopped just short of asking all of the questions we needed to ask in order to get all of the information that we needed to get. And so everybody is running around with their idea of what did that vote in 2022 mean? Or what is, everybody has different interpretations of results. I think if you can take the time to ask one more question, it helps you. And I'll give you an example. There are people that think that the the bond in 2022 failed because people didn't like the location. There are some people that didn't vote for it because they didn't like the cost. There are some people that didn't vote for it because they didn't trust City Hall to run it. There are some people that just wanted it downtown. There are some people that wanted all of the above. You know, but nobody ever stopped to find out exactly, really amongst all of that, what was the predominant factor? What was the first thing we needed to tackle? Was it location? Was it cost? Was it, you know, how do we get this back on track and going in the direction that you voters want us to take it in? You need to ask one more question, always ask one more question. Okay, what does that mean? You gave me your answer. What does that mean? Why are you telling me that? So that I know, you know, I can think like you.
Well, God, that was exactly what I was doing at my last city council when I was mayor. That is exactly what I was doing.
And that was appropriate.
Do we need a show of hands who wants to leave it in versus who doesn't want?
Or who wants to add it in, you mean?
Well, I think the fact that you just have the word cost there, it doesn't cost.
Well, how
Cost
about
is
lower,
important.
lower costs or controlling costs or,
Whatever you guys want.
what would make you, how would you change cost?
Cost I can afford.
That's
How about-
ambiguous. I mean, it's what you can afford and what I can afford can be two different variables,
Right.
you know, you can't have a double. You got squares beside them, why can't you have two squares? Higher cost, lower cost. Market. It's all on the same line, you're asking what is,
Well, is anybody gonna say a high cost is most important?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is, you know, it's
So we're
implied, it's
understood.
implied that it's lowest cost, yeah. What's your number one, what's gonna help you make this, you know, decision, or what are you gonna be looking at most? The cost of the project? How about cost of the project?
I mean, really. Maybe changing it instead of just costs, keeping overall cost as low as possible. And everybody's gonna check that, but.
Well, so if I go through this survey and I look at this and I say, okay, $35 million for downtown project, oh, hell no. Remodel the downtown existing building, it's only 10 million, yeah, that's what I want. Do metal, no, you're never gonna build in the park. Highland site, no, you're never gonna build outside the city. Now I go on, okay, now why did you say you want, if I chose remodeling the existing building, then I strongly support that. Then I can look over and at the additional feedback and pretty much figure out why that person chose that if by their answers there. If they marked, you know, cost of the project, then you know they chose that project because it's only $10 million versus $35 million. If they say longevity and future adaptability, then you combine the answer to that question along with their choice, and that helps you determine, okay, where are they going with this?
Well, the whole thing is that I think the first question that the people in your heart need to answer is, what location do you want your public service building in? Okay,
Well, that's why we're
And
giving them
these-
choices.
and these are the costs associated with that choice. Okay, now if they want it downtown, but they don't want to spend the big bucks, they're gonna have to remodel it.
That's, okay, so that's why I'm saying we need to ask these additional questions. Let's say now, let's go back to, I chose option B, but when you look over on the additional feedback, I don't mark the cost as my number one thing that made me make that decision. I marked preserving the fire station's traditional downtown location. Now, you know why I chose that, and it wasn't necessarily because it was the lowest cost or the shortest lifespan or this or that or the other. Or it's because it matters a whole lot to me that the fire station stays downtown. You need those additional questions in order to figure out why they chose and because you can't assume why they chose one thing, because there could be many factors.
But there's two choices downtown. So if downtown was
Well,
super,
that's
super
again, why-
important, then they've got two choices.
Right, which is again, why you need to, so you can't assume anything from they chose the two different choices. You can't assume, if they choose the brand new building or the remodel downtown, you don't know what was their driving factor for it. That could have been longevity and future adaptability. It could have been any number of things. You need to ask these additional questions, and it doesn't hurt us. It's not, we're not mailing them out, we're emailing it out, and if people want to skip that question, then they'll skip that question. But why would you include it? What is it? What are the reasons for not doing it? How does it hurt us? How does it hurt the
That's
survey?
fine, let's do it.
There might be more positives and negatives, looking at this from, like the reasons not to include it would be a slightly longer survey. Some overlap with the ranking questions, data analysis complexity might come into it because we're introducing another layer, but I think there's probably more reasons to include it, like giving some more context to people's rankings.
At the end of the
Gives you more
survey,
information.
I think we would rather say we asked too many questions and got more information than we actually needed, rather than saying, gosh, we need to do another survey, because we just don't really know what this information is.
So does that mean there's 3 people that are willing to put this in?
Yes.
Because if we have 3 people, then we can move on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Okay,
Okay.
but I still go back to, you've either got to tell them to rank it 1 through 5, or you've gotta
Yeah,
have factors be singular.
So 1 through 5 is
1 through
going
5.
to increase, the amount of time it takes to do the survey, and that's a dangerous place to be. I'm not sure where we're at in that. We're gonna have to time this out. See how long it takes somebody to do that, to rank it.
I would just do with the second option, don't give them multiple options, just what's the most important factor.
And take the S off of factors.
and add matters, or S to.
What factor matters most to you?
Add an S to matters, or matters.
And S2 matters.
And then you want to step forward, that's any additional comments as well.
Okay, step 4, so, okay.
Or a fourth question, it's really a fourth question.
All right, now real quick. Unless I missed it, so back to the additional feedback with the 5 choices there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And under cost, so is the goal to understand how many residents prioritize lower taxes or affordability? Or is the goal that we want to capture those who may support a higher cost for a higher value? Or, so if it was to understand that many residents support or prioritize lower taxes, we would put keeping overall costs as low as possible as the choice.
Yeah,
If we were to wanted to capture those who may support higher costs for higher value, we would put overall cost and value for the community. Or we would just put lower overall cost to taxpayers. So what is it that you'd like to accomplish there?
I think when you ask a question, it shouldn't it shouldn't, you should never ask two questions in one question. It's,
So keeping overall cost as low as possible.
yeah, if you say, is it this and this? And they go, well, it's one of those things. Then again, when they answer that question, you don't really know what the answer is.
Were you asking what to change cost to? Because they had originally said that it would be cost of the project.
Cost of the project.
That was what the line item was, instead of cost.
And again, you look at that, and if they chose the most expensive and they said cost of the project, then
Keeping the overall cost of the project as low as possible.
I don't know, but will we be able to sort that way, that we could actually go, okay, these people chose this. Are we gonna be able to collate that to this question, go, oh, they chose the downtown Taj Mahal. Are we gonna be able to tie that to safety and elevation, or longevity and future adaptability, or cost?
I don't think you.
Sure, and if we did, would it be helpful? Would that be helpful?
I don't think you can say keeping overall costs as low as possible, because they could be in favor of option A, but still hoping that the costs are kept as low as possible on option A. It doesn't get to it. I think you've got to ask them whether lowest cost possible is their number one priority.
Cost of the project.
Keeping overall cost of the project as low as possible. No. How would you word that?
Because you can want option A, but you still can say, well, I want the cost kept as low as possible for option A.
It's understood.
well, but we're giving them the cost. We're giving them the cost and saying, this is the cost of this project. Is this your favorite is this your best choice? And then you're going on and saying, why did you make that choice? Is it because of the location? Is it because of the cost? Is it because of this? Is it because of that?
I'm just saying it can be, it's ambiguous. If you say keeping costs as low as possible, it's ambiguous. It doesn't give us information.
So
How about just cost of the project? It's
Cost
just
of the project, I think, is appropriate. Because you could open up a whole nother door about whether, my opinion, that a short-term remodel is, yeah, it might seem like it's gonna save us money up front, but we're gonna be paying for it for a long time to come.
Okay, are we done with formatting the survey then?
No, we haven't done formatting. I mean, I have some comments about formatting, so.
yeah, what we had in here, I think
Great.
I think that we need to reiterate the cost of the project. This is just for the fire station, it's for the public works building, it's for the city hall. That's the cost of the project.
That's why we itemized them in the first option. I mean, in the first step. Second step. Sorry.
What do we have to do for formatting?
Okay, so formatting, for instance, under option A, Chad, you've got approximate tax impact. I know you're probably gonna redo this. It says $3 per 1,000 of, and then the next line goes into assessed value. It can't go down there.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And I wonder if we should put assessed property value.
Well. Is it, this is real?
It's just, it's the assessed property value that this 1,000. So
There's an
based on,
acronym for that. What is it?
A assessed.
RMV and, real market value and assessed market value is ABV.
AMV,
AMD and RMD.
I think it's on your property tax statement. We didn't
Right, no,
look,
that's
but I'm
why,
pretty
that's
sure.
why I was suggesting maybe the
Yeah, that's a good idea.
AMV would be in
That's
parentheses.
a good idea. So then if they look at your statement, it would,
It's the assessed market value, it's not just assessed value. And the survey's not gonna look exactly like this in Survey Monkey.
So, to go back to my questions. I'll wait till you're finished writing down.
Oh, sorry, you right away?
Yeah,
I'm good.
that's okay.
I'm good, go ahead.
So this is these questionnaires that are gonna be filled out are gonna be anonymously filled out. People are not putting their names on them. Okay, and if somebody fills out the computer version of it, how do we, and then if they fill out the paper version of it, are we gonna know that they already filled out the computer version of it?
Not unless they tell us, no. No, there's no way, I don't believe that there's any way to mark these and organize them so we know who they go out to, who they're from if they're a paper version. And we don't wanna mark or, you know, we wanna keep it anonymous so people will send it out. There may be a few people that do that, I don't think it'll be a majority, but, you know, plus minus 4%.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
We end up with 3,000 responses, we'll know that we've got a bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you suggested, we were talking about that you were gonna just have paper copies available here at City Hall. And then we also said maybe we just have a laptop and we could just help them fill it out like everybody else. That would have our IP address, I mean.
Yeah,
I think I'd ask the staff about that.
we help them with their water bills all the time. I don't think it's, but most of them could bring their cell phone in, they just can't get there. You know, it's help. I don't.
some people can't see screens very well, you know, it's just that portion of it,
I'm sure that's a
No.
problem.
so.
They can sit in here and fill it out.
Yeah, there is no fail-safe way to be perfect on this and to make sure, I mean, we're not going to give everybody a voter ID and send it out to them, so it is what it is. We're just gonna hope that this is, you know, that this is gonna be as reliable as it can be. There's no absolute 1,000% way to guarantee.
The mayor was asking that question earlier as well, and I tried to think it through on any other way we could do it, but without coming off as appearing as though we're trying to find out who these people are, which is not what we want to do. I couldn't think of any way to do it, invisible link or otherwise. So I think that the best case we've got going for us is that the system will give us multiple MAC addresses, it's called, you know, so that the MAC address is your computer address, and we'll know. If somebody fills out multiples, we'll show that
Right.
this MAC address number on Chad's computer, it won't say Chad's computer, but it'll have the MAC address number. I can't go back and look to see who that is. I can't even go back and address it. I'm sure if you were the CIA, we could, but we don't have that power here.
Yeah, I understand that. So, but what you could do potentially is if they fill out a paper ballot, ask them to put down their email address.
You could ask them if they want to
Yeah,
volunteer.
because we're not even collecting email addresses.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ins and outs of this, like in my household, you know, I could fill it out, my son could fill it out, my husband could fill it out, you'll get 3 responses from my household, so.
But we've got 3 voters, so why
Right.
wouldn't we want 3?
Yeah,
Right, well, what I'm saying is you're never gonna have a perfect way of knowing it, you know, we can't give it out, you just gotta, this is an information gathering and you gotta understand that are there gonna be a couple of people that are gonna fudge on this? Yeah.
we
Are
can
there gonna
maybe
be a
give you
couple of people
report
that
on
don't fill it
information.
out at all? Yeah.
We might be able to say that, you know, 50 of the surveys were done on the total of 10 computers, so, 10 people had 5 people fill it out on their computer, and maybe that's okay. But if we get somebody who's filling out 20 surveys, then I might report that to the council and say, what do you want me to do with this?
But see, that's not gonna happen. You're not gonna have, so let's take a 3-person household. Pretty commonly, all 3 of those people have different email addresses.
Or different devices.
So they're not all gonna fill out something
Well, probably
On the
just gonna do it on
same-
their phone.
on the
Yeah,
same.
but again, we're not collecting email addresses, it's just gonna be based on the.
Like I said, you're, this is just one of those things where you're just gonna have to accept that it's gonna be.
Plus or minus 3 to
Imperfect.
5%.
Hey, we're not spending $20,000 on it.
Exactly.
Well, not with them anyway, we're not. We're keeping it within staff.
Can we?
Uh,
As the
Okay.
keeper of the surveys, can I ask a question?
Hi, Christie.
Hi. I was just curious why on this particular survey, the decision was made to not ask for a first and last name because they had put it on the previous 2 surveys.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with asking their names, but just saying, it's not required.
Or at least an address.
basically what's important to me is whether or not they're a voter, honestly. I understand that the people up front, my gestalt on the people who don't live here all the time is that they've been very supportive for the last 10 years that we've been working on this project. They would just like to see it done. And their opinion is important, but we really gotta get it past the voters. The voters are who make or break it. We have plenty of support.
So if you wanna ask their names but it's, you don't have to put your name down, we'll still accept a survey from you if you don't put your name down.
And I think that happened, and I'm
Would you
sorry, I didn't
mind-
remember that, Christie, about that survey. That we did ask the names on the other 2. I don't think anybody gave us any real grief about it, but it's kind of how you, the council, wants to show that this is going out.
Is it better to have them put a Gerhart address versus their name? Because if you put their name, you're going to know how that person would vote. And I don't know if some people.
Well, that's
are
why they don't
reluctant.
have to put their name, that would be the reason not to ask for their names, so. They can leave their name off if they want, I don't.
It's not a
personally, I don't care.
mandatory question.
I
Cause
don't
they
care.
might
We're
feel
just
targeted,
gathering
like if you
information.
know, if they put number 4 and somebody knows that they put number 4. They may not choose to fill it out because they know you know who they are.
Right.
If it helps, I was the only one who knew anything.
But it would be a public record though that somebody could request.
Well, I think that
We redacted all of the names, so the actual surveys were in the final report, but each name was redacted. Was how it was shared and distributed.
I mean, when you're asking for addresses, are they gonna give you the PO box number or are they gonna give you physical address?
You would want to have them give you the physical address.
Yeah, it's just like looking at statistics. For maintaining trust and participation, it's like residents know when they're anonymous, they're gonna participate more likely. And I think that, like you said, we have a pretty solid reach out to who we're sending this to. It doesn't prevent people from California who don't own a piece of property here that have once been to Gerhart from filling out surveys, that might happen.
But we're not gonna mail it out to those folks, so. We're not soliciting from those folks.
That would take somebody
That-
sharing a link.
And again, it can happen. There's any number of ways that people can goof up the system. Trust me, I'm a former fraud investigator. There are ways that people will get around no matter what you put in place. So we can't get hung up on that. We just gotta understand that there's gonna be a little bit of shenanigans, and then there's gonna be, the vast majority of people are gonna give us sincere responses.
So to Christie's point, leave the names off.
I say name not required, but if you weren't.
Optional.
Yeah. Put a line for the name and say not required.
What SurveyMonkey does is you'll either mark a question as required or not. And so if the field is there, they can type it in. But if they don't type it in, it won't stop them from proceeding.
We can mark it that way.
Okay. That would be
So
my,
it's optional.
The other ones will not be.
And so we're gonna distribute a link to SurveyMonkey. We're gonna put the link in the water bill insert in October and November. We're gonna post it on the blog and we're gonna cross-reference a voter registration mailing list. And somehow you're only gonna,
Except we may have to do a special 700 person mail out for the second water bill.
right,
Rather than putting it in the water bill,
In the
do a
water
special
bill.
mail out to them because of timing. We want to get this information back sooner than waiting till November 20th when those bills go up.
right.
can we
So
also put something out
When
on
you
your,
send-
on your sign out there?
At the substation?
Yeah, you know, your little.
Well, out
your-
here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put the one on here.
Yeah,
Fill out
put a notice up
survey,
on the post office
please.
reminding people.
Yeah.
So when you send this month's water bills out, then you would send the off months. You send them the survey.
Like a post.
Well,
like
we could send them a
the
postcard or
Yeah.
the letter explaining to them where they need to go to do this. Yeah, so some would get it in their water bill, some would get it in a special mail out, which hopefully that doesn't cause any trouble with people calling, well, I got it in the mail, well, I wasn't here. What are they up to? We're not up to anything, but we'll try to explain that maybe in a broader basis. And then we would get it on the blog and the website. And voter registration. And property tax registration. And we lump those into a database and see if we can get rid of the duplicates so that we're making sure we're hitting everybody and not missing anybody. Gonna be a bit of work for that, but
I'll need to contact the county tomorrow and see what their turnaround time is as well.
yeah, and actually, I think Angelina, did she just buy the newest list?
No, we recommended, but not yet.
Okay, we're gonna need 2 lists from them. And the reason that they were delayed the last time is because they were in the middle of tax season, so hopefully they're out of that.
And so do we have survey open and close dates yet?
Not solid dates, because we still got some work to do and put this together, but once we have that done, I'd like to try to get 3 weeks out of this.
Well, did we have a date that we needed all the information back by to stay on our timeline in order to get everything that we need for May?
Have that in here.
So do or die date.
Hopefully be like the end of November.
November was our cutoff for, we
We
needed.
were
information back
hoping
in
that we
November.
would get into the November city council meeting with this information. That's gonna be a little late. And here's my sheet, there we are.
We could have it by your November 24th work session.
And that still kind of keeps us in line.
So then we put it out and we get it back. If we approve it, is this something we have to vote on in the council meeting, or is this something we can just say, yeah, we like it in a work session?
Oh, for these changes here?
Well, I mean, in order to authorize the survey, is this something we have to vote on, or is this a consensus thing we can do?
No, we can do consensus on
Okay,
I can talk
so
to
then we
them.
could put it out and so that would be October 30th. And then, so you would put it out, let's say you put it out on Monday, November 3rd. 3 weeks would be the Monday before Thanksgiving, Monday, the 24th, and you would have that information ready by the December 3rd city council meeting.
And that would work.
So we sign off on the final at our work session on the 30th. It goes out on November 3rd. And cutoff date would be 1, 2, 3, November 24th. Or you could even give them a couple more days and give them right up until Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
It won't go out in water bills then.
Not the second set.
Not the first set, because that's gonna be the last weekend in October.
Well, yeah, I'd actually think that we can get this out
I mean,
earlier than that.
I feel like we've gone through the whole thing. Do we
Yeah.
have to see it again? Can we
No,
just approve
I'm,
it
I'm good with
now?
it. I don't care about the formatting. I don't care about, that's something something that I trust you guys to work on.
I'd like to see it go out with the October water bills.
Okay.
I mean, we can push it to like the 27th, because he probably won't get the reads to us until around the 21st, 22nd. And then we process it, so they probably wouldn't go out, but November 3rd is kind of late to go out. Too late, I think, for the water bills.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm comfortable with, I don't need to micromanage this. We've come up with the questions, we've come up with the content format and all that stuff like you guys can do.
Gives us a week. Next week entirely. The rest of this week and next week entirely to format. Get the list put together and get it ready for the water bills. And if you could wait till
Yeah, we
Monday,
could
the
wait till the
26th.
30th, but they would need to go out like the 30th, not
27th.
the 3rd.
We might even be able to do the 27th, 28th, Monday, Tuesday.
Well, do we want to move our work session from the 30th to the 27th?
No, the 30th is when I think our attorney can. Our prospective attorney.
Oh, well, like I said, I don't,
But when you guys, when you guys get the final three, on Saturday. But,
Yeah, I'll contact you all.
oh, there's fine.
Yeah, I'll contact you all, get you get the draft 5, as we call it. I'll get it in your box. Lion and I have been working pretty closely on this, so we'll double check with her. And then I'll make sure that you all see it, and then I'll get a thumbs up from you individually without a meeting.
I want to say thank you to everybody who's worked so hard on this. You guys have worked really hard on this and I appreciate it.
I've been gone every time there's something to work on.
That's because you're working on other stuff.
Yeah,
Do we have an agenda for the work session on the 30th then?
No, not yet. Agenda was one thing I need to take care of. Verify that the attorney can make it for that day. We're still working on that, but it's looking good. And then also one of the counselors, I can't remember who was asking for some questions, some sample questions, and started working up for the attorney to ask the attorney. It's a little off topic here, but questions that we need to ask the attorney.
About something else?
Know about hiring an attorney or not. So the 30th is.
Yes, okay, gotcha.
So it was asked that I provide some questions, and I've also asked Chad Jacobs for those as well, for some questions.
So do we
I
need
was
to
not
clarify
fine
and get a
with the attorney.
consensus now that we're comfortable with the content? Give it to them, they format it and send it out. Do we need to do a consensus or does anybody want to actually come back and meet and see it again before it's issued?
does anybody want to do that? Come back in and see it?
I
I'll leave
don't
it
care.
tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. So go ahead, you go.
I feel, I got faith in these guys.
Okay, so the consensus is do it.
Do it.
Okay, I'll check with you anyway.
Yes. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Work
Thank
session
you.
adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, y'all. Y'all.